Let's pray. Almighty God, who in your wisdom and goodness have appointed the office of leaders and county assembly for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to behold with your abundant favor as your servants, whom you've been pleased to call to the performance of your trust in this republic. Let your blessings descend upon us here assembled. Grant that we treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our county, and of those whose interests you've committed to our church. Amen. Clerk, kindly take us through the order of the day.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and honorable members. Order paper number 219 of Thursday, 22nd August 2024 at 2:30 p.m. Order number 1, administration of oath.
Next order.
Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Next order.
Order number 3, messages.
Next order.
Order number 4, petitions.
Next order.
Order number 5, papers.
Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Next order.
Order number 7, statements.
This statement time. Honorable Nancy Matara.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to say that I still don't have that statement because we try and reach the Waziri, but Waziri referred us to the CEO of LREB, who is Mr. Victor Nyagaya. And he keeps telling me that he's sending somebody to bring the statement, and it's not yet. So I don't have the statement with me now.
Honorable Nancy, I think we agreed that you will give us a report. It's not a detailed statement. It's basically about Festac, how much it's costing. If the amount is more than 15 million, where do we get the extra money? When is it happening? The responsibility, if any, for the assembly.
They were to present us with a statement. And that's what they told us. That is what you are going to use. But I don't have it, Mr. Speaker. So there's no any other statement that I can give out in the House, yet I don't have it. So maybe, I don't know, but it's getting out of hand. But she's saying that she's sending it through the WhatsApp. But I haven't received it. So, Mr. Speaker, I'm sorry, I don't have it.
What is it, Nerea?
Mr. Speaker, I didn't talk. I was just smiling with the Assembly Gen Z.
What is it, Honorable Bill? You people are looking at me as if you have something to say. Honorable members, it's you who resolve that we get the statement. You've heard from the chair, Culture. Any comments? Yes, Honorable Lega.
Thank you, Chair. As a member of Sports of Committee, you know sometimes, Mr. Speaker, you can't eat a stone to get water. If the executives are refused to give us the information, we can't give information which we don't have. Now, information about Festag, as a committee member of sports and culture, we don't have any communication from the executive.
Settlement time. Honorable Samuel Lede.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Being that we heard of the Festac Festival long time ago when you communicated on the floor, and you informed the House that the Kisumu County Assembly football team will be the one being, during the opening ceremony, they'll be playing the first game. And currently, we don't have any information from the sports and culture committee. So my observation is that, being that they have not provided us with the proper program, it's procedural that we do away with the Festa. Thank you.
Said you're walking in, you are the people, the members who asked about Festac. There is no communication as at today.
Honorable Speaker, on that submission alone, if the committee does not know, they've communicated with the department do not know about Festac. Why should we as a county commit to spend money on Festac? Honorable Speaker, we are struggling with so many things that are affecting the people of Kisumu that 15 million can do. We have problems with roads. We were talking about here with bridges that have collapsed. We have bursaries to pay. We have ECDs to build. We have dispensaries to construct. We have so many other things to do. Why must we invest on something that nobody knows what it's doing, how it's operating, where it's coming from, where we are going to end, or what benefit it's going to give us? Honorable Speaker, we once talked about United Green in this house, and so many people doubted. But it came to pass that it was a scam. Madam Speaker, my sixth sense is telling me that investment in Festac is not beneficial to this county. And as an assembly, we need to move with speed to stop any expenditure on Festac to save this county. Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable James Somolo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it's very sad that the department whom we oversight, that is the Sports, Culture and Gender, has refused to give us information on this. And it is our duty as the watchdog committee to this department to know all the details as pertaining Festac. And even as we speak right now, I'm a member of this committee. I have no idea. Neither my chair, neither my honorable deputy chair, none of us has any iota of idea about what is going on. And we want to spend money on this. It is very sad, and I think it comes a time when we have to make very radical decisions as a house so that we save the face of the county and that of the governor, because this thing can boomerang. I just imagine if Chair Rhodes would be in a position that something is happening in this county and the Chair Rhodes cannot say about it, and it is a road being done. Let's say, for example. So in this scenario where we are now, as a committee, we don't know anything. And we don't want to commit on this at all. And history will judge us that we were right or wrong. But as we speak, without information, and they have denied us this information until the last minute right now, there is none coming from the executive about this event. Afro-cities happened here in Kisumu, and everything was bold. It was in the press, everyone was concerned, everybody will speak about it, and everyone knew what was it about. How many people are coming to the city, where they're going to stay, the hoteliers are aware, everyone was aware about our cities. But this one, Mr. Speaker, I think we are on the wrong foot. I'm really not for the idea, but it is up to us to make that kind of decision. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable James Were.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we were given the mandate to seek for answers about FESTAC. And Mr. Speaker, we did make frantic efforts through the department. And Mr. Speaker, I've just gotten a call from the department explaining that FESTAC event will run for 7 days from 26th. Mr. Speaker, we were briefed that FESTAC event is expected to host around 3,800 delegates with 187 exhibitors, with expectation of 62 countries attending, and so far 125 speakers who have confirmed taking part. Mr. Speaker, on the coast, it is true that the County Assembly appropriated around 15 million towards that event. Mr. Speaker, the Waziri in charge briefed that there is a MOU that was signed between the FESTAC event organizers and county government of Kisumu. And it was agreed that the FESTAC organizers were going to bridge the gap. They were going to raise funds to cater for the difference. Mr. Speaker, they committed to working on comprehensive report that they will submit to this assembly before the end of business today. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
You heard the feedback from that was the Vice Chair of Culture. That's the feedback. Maybe I can allow 2 or 3 comments before we move. Honorable Chief Whip.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to add my voice on the issue of FESTAC. Mr. Speaker, it's not the first time we are allocating money towards these festivals. Even in the first government of Professor Nyang' Nyong'o, we allocated money towards Afri-cities, and it was spent in such an event. Even recently, Kenya as a country went to the Olympics, and money was appropriated towards that cause. The county government of Kisumu allocated 15 million towards FESTAC. So I don't know the worry. As a government, because we represent the government in this house, together with the majority leader, let's wait for the county government of Kisumu to spend 15 million. Then as assembly, we will hold them accountable. We will seek reports from the county government. And it's their duty, Mr. Speaker, to submit such reports, how they spent those monies towards the FESTAC. Because we allocated money towards, and I don't know whether the committee interrogated the department and asked them how they were going to spend. And Mr. Speaker, for your information, you allocated each and every committee time to interrogate the relevant department, how they are going to spend the monies they were allocating, they were appropriating. And I'm worried that the chair, together with the vice chair, did not interrogate the department at that time to explain to them how they were going to spend the money. You don't wait until time reaches when those people are busy organizing for the events is when you want statements. You could have interrogated them by the time the county assembly allocated you time to invite the relevant department and explain to you how they were going to spend. But right now, I'm begging the chair and the committee to wait until the festival is over. Then they will invite them, they will bring reports how they spend those money. Otherwise, there is no worry. Festac is there. We are expecting visitors. The hotels are fully booked. The taxi men are working. Kisumu is busy. And even today, Mr. Speaker, the governor unveiled the Secretariat of Festac at the Royal City Hotel.
Understanding Order 89, Statement of Facts. Can the member on the floor tell us which hotels are booked for the Festac information? Because he's talking of the hotels are being booked in town. Can he specify the hotels which have been booked through the information?
Honorable Seth Kanga.
But, Mr. Speaker, it is in the public domain, and today, Mr. Speaker, the governor unveiled the Secretariat of Festac at the Royal City Hotel, and we are expecting more visitors. At the moment, the Secretariat is ready. Visitors are checking into hotels. They have called several hotels, and Kisumu is a very busy place. So as an assembly, we welcome the visitors from various parts of Africa to the Festac Festival. Long live Kisumu, long live Kisumu County Government. Thank you very much.
I hope there is no more comment on Festac. You are satisfied. What is it, Honorable Seth?
Chair, we submitted when the Honorable Deputy Chair had not given us information that he had gotten. And Honorable Speaker, I'd request that you allow me to comment again after he has submitted that information, because
it's...
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the information we have been given are neither here or there, because if you get from the Vice Chair, he's saying that it's from a phone call. There is nothing to show this House that he has done a phone call. There is no document to ascertain that there is an MOU between the county government and Festac. There is no communication from the department to the committee or to Festac that is before us. And Honorable Speaker, even after the Vice Chair has communicated to this House, I still have reservations with regards to Festac. Honorable Speaker, we don't know the total budget of Festac, whether the 15 million that we appropriated was enough or not, whether we needed more money, and where that extra money is going to come from. Nobody in this House knows. The Chief Whip has mentioned that a secretariat has been formed, running on what budget, and who is going to cut that cost. Honorable Speaker, I feel that if we are not careful, we will keep landing this county into more pending bills by entering into activities that we don't know their budget, and then people end up procuring things beyond what we have appropriated. Honorable Speaker, we can be happy that people are visiting this town. We can be happy that taxi men are working. We can be happy that several people are running around buying food in our hotels. But we can as well be leaving a big hole for Kisumu to fail. And that is my concern. And that is what I want this House to salvage the county from. And that's why I stand my point that before we can get more information about Festac, Honorable Speaker, this House needs to save Kisumu from more pending bills, from entering into activities that are not budgeted for, and from incurring pending bills that we are running away from. Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker.
What is it, Honorable Leader?
Mr. Speaker, Festac is just like Afri-Cities. It is an African event, and it is under African Festival of Arts and Culture that is done yearly. And we are lucky as a county and as a city that we are hosting it this year. And I want to remind the honorable members that we approved the budget. It is like approving a budget on a road. And now the way we are behaving, it is like you've seen a contractor assembling his tools to go to the road. Then you start asking, what are you going to do in that road? I think that one we are very unfair. You can't ask for the BQ until the contractors does the road. Honorable Speaker, I think the Kisumu Festac is being hosted by Mama Grace Onyango. And it is being hosted by Mama Grace Onyango Cultural and Social Center, together with Misango Arts, assembled from Arusha, Tanzania. So this is an African event, and it is a very big event. And the 15 million that we approved, I think we also have other partners joining to make sure that the event takes place. And I think we are in the middle. The Festac event was launched yesterday by the governor. So when we are asking, we want to know at this moment, our work is to oversight. Let us wait when Festac is done, then we ask how they spent our 15 million. Why are you worried where the other money has come from? And you did not contribute on that money. So I want to also join my way that we are happy as Kisumians. Our hotels are fully booked, business are doing well. Let us support Festac. Thank you.
Honorable members, I'm seeing the chair, Culture. I think you already submitted your, what is it, 1 minute?
Yes, Mr. Speaker. I told you that he was to send me the statement on WhatsApp. But I've got a brief report on Festac. So maybe you can go through it so you can hear. Okay. Pardon? I share on the wall. But okay, the brief report.
How long to present?
2 minutes, okay.
If you can do it in 2 minutes, because I'm seeing we are already exhausting the statement time.
Actually, the budget for the Festac is 16 million. And now the extra 1 million is from 500K is for the security, while the 500K is for the artist performing. So total of it, already we had, the stage, the performing, those are going to perform, the local artists are going to be given 500,000. And the security also 500,000. So it totals to 16, because what we passed, what we approved was 15K. So the extra one, 15 million. But what I've got here, we have delegates, which are 3,857 delegates. We have exhibitors, which is 187. And actually, when I tried to talk to Honorable Waziri Farida, he was telling us that he has a booth for us that we can display our things. We have, number 3, we have countries. The countries are attending the countries attending are 62 countries. Then we have speakers confirmed, 125 speakers confirmed. The county government of Kisumu is taking care of state of art stage and security. All the expenditures are being taken care of by the Festac team. All other expenditures are being taken care by the Festac team. All other, not all other. Then we'll have tags for the honorable members. The county budget on Festac is 15 million, that is stage, 500 security, and 500 performing artists. Thank you much.
Honorable members, what is it, Honorable Nerea? I thought I gave you a chance and you told me you were discussing something with Honorable Billy.
Thank you. Just on the report that has been read by the chair, Sports and Culture. She says that the county government of Kisumu is only taking care of the stage and the security, which she has clearly said will cost 1 million. So in short, we are saving 14 million.
I didn't hear her say that. Maybe you are having something on your ears.
On a point of order, Honorable Speaker.
No.
Madam Speaker, on statement of facts, I believe it's 89. If I was to get it very clear from the submission of the chair, that we appropriated 15 million, and that 15 million is going to be spent on the stage for Festac, just the stage. That they are going to provide a stage for Festac and it's going to cost 15 million. I want that to go right on record, and so that our citizens can know where the 16 million is going to go to. Thank you, Chair.
Why are so many members standing? Honorable Nancy Matara, can you repeat the statement on the budget so that it's clear?
That is misleading the House, man.
So that Honorable Narea is well informed, because I didn't get her saying 1 million for the whole project, for the whole program. Just the section on budget.
Okay, through the speaker, the 15 million is the stage. When you say stage on artist, it doesn't mean that is necessarily the stage. That's the podium. The stage is for the, that is not.
Honorable members, why don't you lend your ears to Honorable Nancy? Because Honorable Eunice Alando and Honorable Nerea are busy doing conversation, and you are the same person who did not understand the.
Whenever you say a stage on the culture on it, it's not that only that stage, that podium. The whole event is called stage. Yes. Yeah. The whole event is called stage. Not only the podium that you see, it's called stage. No. That is not the language of the art. Yes. Then 500K, which is additional, which brings to 16, it's for security. 500K is for security. 500K is for performing artists. And that one is, they say, all other. Maybe other stakeholders.
I think you've made your communication.
Pardon?
That you've communicated the budget.
Thank you.
Yeah. Honorable Gadolem, I don't want to open debate. I've already exhausted the time for statement.
Just
can I give you 1 minute each?
1 minute, please. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I think this first act thing is now an animal in the house that is going to break or make this county. If we budgeted as a county for 15 million, who has given the other 1 million? From what coffers? From whose pocket? Mr. Speaker, this is the appropriation house. It's us to appropriate money. If you appropriate 15 million, they must have requested for that. And they must have had a BQ for the same. Today you walk in town and you get all the billboards with city manager, deputy governor, all over on first act. I think the 15 million was to do all those things. This other 1 million for security, why was it not part of what we were brought in this assembly to approve? Whose pocket has given the 1 million extra? From which coffers? Because we are the appropriation house and we are the one appropriated with the 15 million. Now it's 16 million. Who has added the other 1 million without the approval of this assembly?
Your point is noted, but I heard the chair say that any other cost. I heard the chair say that any other cost is taken care of by the partners. But again, we have agreed that we are interested in the 15 million. Let us wait for the first act and then we ask for the report to check. Honorable Nyaoke, I said I'm giving you 1 minute, Honorable Nyaoke.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we are talking about a very fundamental issue, but my worry is, I think it is now too late in the day to discuss about this, because what we should have asked at the very beginning is when the time that we were approving the budget for the actual thing. Mr. Speaker, this function was officially opened yesterday. We don't have the capacity to stop it, even if that money is going to be squandered. What is remaining now is we have to wait.
On a point of order, Honorable Speaker.
What is the
Honorable Speaker, unless we are talking about different things. Honorable Nyaoke is talking about an activity that was opened, I don't know, yesterday. But on communication we're having, first act is supposed to start on 25th. So, unless he's submitting on a different thing, Honorable Speaker, I want him to come out clear and tell us what he's talking about that started yesterday and has been opened. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Sorry, I withdraw that line, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, what I wanted to ask secondly is that I am aware that people will be, to enter in that function, tickets will be sold, Mr. Speaker. I'm aware, I've been informed accordingly. But my question is, the collections of these tickets will be how much, what is expected, and where will this money be taken to? Will it come back to the county, or those guests will live with it? Sorry, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Honorable members, we cannot exhaust the discussion on the first act. I think what we asked for in the morning was very clear. And the chair of that committee has given a report. So I want to suggest that with the report, if there is any other concern, then there must be a way of putting it. But as now, if we open up the debate on first act, I think we are not able to conclude. I want to go with what the leader of majority has proposed, and even the chief whip. That two things. One, let us not take for granted when we give committees an opportunity to interrogate their sectors in terms of budget. Take it seriously. I mean, some of the questions could have come earlier. Two, we appropriated for 15 million, and the chair has put it very clear that any additional cost will be the responsibility of the organizers of the event. I mean, as people responsible for oversight, that's what you wait for, because I'm 100% sure that by the end of the activity of the program, there is going to be a report on the same. Then we interrogate the report. And if there is any mess, then the person who has caused the mess should take responsibility. So we give our arms and efforts to the same. But what Honorable Gad is asking is a very critical question, though I heard that anything above 15 is taken care of by the organizers. Up to there, I believe we are informed. The chair will inform you where to get your tags and if there is any responsibility. And then if there is any question, there is a way of bringing it. We are always available. We are a call away. We still have the whole of next week and even the week following. So I want to close the issue of first act. Unfortunately, also the time for statement has elapsed. So clerk, take us to the next order. What is the next order?
Commencement of business. Order number 8, motion. Adoption of a report of appointments committee on the vetting of nominees for appointment to the city board by leader of majority.
Before I give the leader of majority, please, I want to refer you to the notices on the order paper on limitation of debates, and the House resolved on Wednesday, 21st February 2024, that pursuant to the provision of orders 95(1) of the standing order, these assembly orders that each speech in the debate on a report of a committee, a sessional paper, or any other report submitted to the assembly be limited as follows: a maximum of 3 hours with not more than 20 minutes for the mover in moving and 10 minutes in replying, and a maximum of 5 minutes for any other member speaking, except the leader of majority party, who shall be limited to a maximum of 15 minutes, and the priority be accorded to the leader of majority party in that order. So I'm bringing to you that attention, that we are aware that we have a maximum of 3 hours for the debate, and it's going to be distributed the way we resolved on Wednesday, 21st February 2024. So, Honorable Leader of Majority.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I rise to move a motion for adoption of the report on the vetting of the nominees for appointment to the city board. Mr. Speaker and honorable members, pursuant to the provisions of Article 184 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, Section 13(4) of the Urban Areas and Cities Act 2011, Section 11(1) of the Urban Areas and Cities Act Amendment Act 2019, and Section 6 of the Public Appointments County Assemblies Approvals Act 2017, read together with Standing Order number 187 of the Kisumu County Assembly Standing Orders, His Excellency the Governor submitted to the County Assembly the following persons for vetting and approval for appointment to the Kisumu City Board. Number 1, Ambassador Michael Adipo Okoth Oyugi, Member City Board, Category Member. Number 2, Engineer Kenneth Nyangaga, Member City Board category member. Number 3, Mr. Joseph Mugawur, category member. Number 4, Dr. Edwin Ochengo Cool, category member. Number 5, Mr. Lawrence Omondi Obat, category member. Number 6, Ms. Karen Atieno Nyango, category member. Number 7, Ms. Marianne Amondi, representative of Association of Professional Societies. Number 8, Ms. Vivian Akoth Otieno, category representative of the informal sector. Number 9, Mr. Samson Obwanga, category representative of the private sector. Number 10, Dr. Silvan Zonyanga Baker, category representative of the neighborhood association. The nomination of the 10 persons was conveyed to the Speaker of the County Assembly through the letter reference that dated the letter reference CGK/CS/ADM/20 volume 2/113 dated 15th July 2024. The nominees' CVs and testimonials were enclosed in the letter and were forwarded to the Committee on Appointments pursuant to Standing Orders number 187. Consequently, on the Tuesday of 6th August 2024, pursuant to Section 13(2) of the Urban Areas and Cities Act 2011, read together with Section 6 and 7 of the Public Appointments County Assemblies Approval Act 2017, the leader of Majority Party, Honorable Kennedy Ooko, tabled names of the nominees on the floor of the House for approval. The nominations were procedurally committed to the Committee on Appointments for vetting and reporting to the House within 21 days in accordance with Section 6, Part 7 of the Public Appointments County Assemblies Act 2017 and Standing Order number 187. Pursuant to Section 7, Part 4 of the Public Appointments County Assembly Approvals Act 2017, the Clerk of the County Assembly placed an advertisement in the print media on Tuesday, 7th August 2024, notifying the nominees of the time and place of the approval hearing, and invited the public to submit memoranda by way of written statements on oath, that is affidavit, on the suitability or otherwise of each of the nominees in accordance with the Public Appointments County Assemblies Approvals Act 2017, that is annexed 4. The advertisement indicated that the submissions were to be received on or before 13th August 2024 at 4 p.m. By close of the submission deadline, the committee had not received any memoranda on the suitability of the nominees for appointment. Further, in fulfillment of the provisions of Article 184 of the Constitution 2010, Section 13(4) of the Urban Areas and Cities Act 2011, Section 11(1) of the Urban Areas and Cities Act, Amendment Act of 2019, and Section 87 of the County Governments Act 2012, read together with Section 7(5) of the Public Appointments County Assemblies Act 2012 and Standing Order number 187, the Clerk of the County Assembly on 7th August 2024 notified the public through the print media that the Committee on Appointments would conduct the approvals hearings as from Wednesday 14th to Thursday 15th August 2024 at the County Assembly chambers. The nominees appeared before the committee as scheduled for the approval hearings in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution, the Urban Areas and Cities Act 2011, and 8th Amendment of 2019, the Public Appointments County Assembly Approval Act 2017, and the County Assembly Standing Orders on their suitability or otherwise for appointment to the position of members of the City Board. Pursuant to Section 8 of the Public Appointments County Assemblies Approval Act 2017, the committee observed that the following nominees met the integrity threshold, demonstrated knowledge of topical administrative and technical issues touching on the portfolios to which they had been nominated, and had the requisite abilities, academic qualifications, and professional experience to be approved for appointment as members of the City Board in accordance with Section 13(4) of the Urban Areas and Cities Act 2011 and Section 11(1) of the Urban Areas and Cities Act 2019, the amendment. 1. Ambassador Michael Adipo Koth Oyugi, category member. 2. Engineer Kenneth Nyangaga, category member. Honorable Speaker, protect me from Honorable Emily. She's making a lot of noise behind me.
Honorable Emily, consult in low tones, please.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Number 3, Mr. Joseph Muga Awor, category member. Number 4, Dr. Edwin Ochengo Kul, category member. Number 5, Mr. Lawrence Omondi Obat, category member. Number 6, Ms. Karen Atieno Nyango, category member. Number 7, Ms. Vivian Akoth Otieno, category representative of the informal sector. Number 8, Mr. Samson Obwanga, category representative of the private sector. Number 9, Dr. Sylvan Zonyanga Baker, category representative of the Neighborhood Association. Having conducted the approvals hearing for the nominees pursuant to the requirements of the Urban Areas and Cities Act Amendment, Act 2019, and Section 8 of the Public Appointments County Assemblies Act 2017, and read together with Standing Orders number 187, the committee recommends that this House therefore approves the nomination of the listed persons to the City Board. That is the ones that I have read. Further, pursuant to Section 13(4) of the Act, Section 11(1) of the Urban Areas and Cities Amendment Act 2019, Sections 4 and Section 8 of the Public Appointments County Assemblies Act 2017 and Standing Order number 187, and having found that there were substantive defects in the procedure used to arrive at one of the nominee, fundamental omissions on mandatory statutory compliance, and having made extraneous considerations on the suitability of the nominee that may risk rendering the cumulative appointment process unconstitutional, the committee prays that this House does not consider for approval the following person to the City Board. Refer Appendix 1A of the report, and that is one Miss Mary Ann Amondi, under category of representative of Association of Professional Societies. Therefore, I take this opportunity to thank all the members of the committee for their input and valuable contributions and time during the approval hearings and deliberation during the writing of the report. The committee also takes this opportunity to thank the offices of the Speaker and the Clerk of the County Assembly for the technical support accorded to it during the exercise. On behalf of the Committee on Appointments and pursuant to Article 184 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, Section 13 of the Urban Areas and Cities Act 2011, and Section 9, Part 2 of the Public Appointments County Assemblies Act 2017, read together with Standing Orders number 187 of the Kisumu County Assembly Standing Orders, it is now my duty and privilege to present to this House the report of the Committee on Appointments on the approval hearings of the nominees for appointment to the positions of the Kisumu City Board, and I kindly ask the Chief Whip, Honorable Seth Kanga, to second. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second this motion on the suitability of the members who are going to serve in the City Board as presented by our Majority Leader, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you are aware this is the second time we are, as an Assembly, vetting and presenting such report before this Assembly, being that the first one which we did, the High Court pronounced itself that it was unprocedural in the sense that the public and the due process was not followed. Mr. Speaker, I believe as a member of the Appointment Committee, I checked whether the due process was followed, Mr. Speaker, and the county government of Kisumu through the governor followed the due process, whereby all the sectors within the city of Kisumu are represented here. The informal sector, the private sector, the neighborhood associations, and even the professional societies are represented on the persons the Assembly vetted. And Mr. Speaker, I am a member of the appointed committee, and I was there from inception to the last person when we vetted. Mr. Speaker, the personalities we vetted here were qualified. We have an ambassador, Mr. Deepa Panja, who was exceptionally qualified and who is able to speak several languages, including Spanish, Portuguese, Germany, and French. And it will be a plus for Kisumu City, Mr. Speaker, and even Duluo. Mr. Speaker, the other time Kisumu City hosted Afri-Cities. And I was embarrassed when we were at the airport, when we were meeting some delegation from Senegal and French and Cameroon. And they were speaking French, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, there was no interpreter. So communication was a great barrier. So this time round, we have a person who is able to speak several languages. And as a city, we are proud of that. Several of them, like Professor Baker. Professor Baker is a renowned professor who understands the terrains of this city, going by how it presented itself. We had engineers in that board, Mr. Speaker. And unfortunately, we had an advocate of High Court whom, Mr. Speaker, as the chair of the appointment committee, you know what transpired when we intervened, the personality. Mr. Speaker, as an assembly, I believe this time round, the due process has been followed by the county government, and the appointment committee checked all the requirements which are required when the process is being done. And Mr. Speaker, I believe the assembly, the appointment committee did its work. Now what remains is the work of the plenary to interrogate, check, and debate robustly whether what the appointment committee did, they followed the law. And Mr. Speaker, with those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, I second. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, now that the leader of majority has moved the motion adoption of a report of the appointment committee on the vetting of nominees for appointment to the city board, seconded by the chief whip. As per our standing orders, I want to propose a question. And I hereby propose that the motion for adoption of a report of appointment committee on the vetting of the nominees for appointment to the city board is open for debate. Joseph, you've disappeared. I'm used to seeing you this side, so yeah. Honorable Seth.
Chair, allow me to submit from the chair of the Honorable Ben Adega of Kajulu. We were consulting about the membership of this board, and he has told me to submit on his behalf and on my own behalf that we approve the adoption of this report, that has agreed that we bring down that one person, the lady, I think she's from Marianne, and the other members be approved to be in the board. Mr. Speaker, I was here, even though I'm not a member of the appointments committee, but I had interest on the membership of the board, and I wanted to witness for myself those whom the governor had brought before us to approve, to help us in managing the city. Honorable Speaker, I want to agree with the submission of the Chief Whip that most of the members, in their presentation and their certificates, they merit being in that board. And they are going to add value in management of our city. Honorable Speaker, I know it was a lot of task when you were vetting the board members. There were so many. But Honorable Speaker, I saw the commitment of members. So they are not just bringing a report that was made, but it's a report that originates from members of this assembly, because they were always there for each and every person. I remember you sending out one lady because she lost her ID card, but she managed to come back with a sworn affidavit and sat before the committee, and she proved herself before the committee, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, we had done this before, but as you know, the processes of this count and the way Kenyans are becoming litigious, it was taken to court, and we were advised to get a new board, and that's what we are doing right now. Honorable Speaker, I want to implore on members that we join hands in improving these people so that our city can have a full board that can engage in the activities of the city. Honorable Speaker, I support.
Honorable Kelvin.
Mr. Speaker, although on one hand I'll be supporting the report, but I'm a little bit disturbed. And you are taking this, Mr. Speaker, taking this city for a joke. His Excellency, the Governor, Professor Nyang' Nyong'o, has walked all around the county, and for that matter, we have had boards from different towns and municipalities. When you talk about Kombewa, majority of the people or the residents and people who understand Kombewa, I never saw somebody from Kolua or any other region going to be there at the city, at the municipal board at Kombewa. The same happened with the Aero Ward, Aero Town, same to other towns that were established. But when it comes to the city, I'm seeing people being outsourced, and very few people from this area, like Kisumu East entirely, is in the city. And the entire almost half of Kisumu West is in the city. But they have chosen around 2 or 3, if I'm not wrong. And majority of the members are not even from within. It is not about papers. It is about the things that are going to be discussed. The last chair of the city board, Mr. Speaker, never did much. And for that reason, if you go to most of the roads in Kisumu East, we are suffering, and that's where residents come from. And you see that this special board has just been left so that any Dick and Harry can sit in the city board. Where are we heading as a city? What do you want to achieve? I'm kindly asking, Mr. Speaker, my hands are tied. I'll just support the appointment committee, but the reality, as we appreciate the son from Kasagam, the ambassador, but I'm saying it was not enough.
On a point of information, Honorable Speaker.
Whom do you want to inform?
Honorable Speaker, I want to inform the member on the floor, my brother, Honorable.
Honorable Kelvin, do you want to be informed?
I think he wants to inform the House together with me.
1 minute.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I just want to bring to the information of the Honorable Member that 2 of those members, if you are here, are coming from Kisumu East. Honorable Speaker, if I was to go by the names, Professor Michael Adepo Panja is from Nyalenda A. And I think the Honorable Member from Nyalenda A will help you confirm that. And Professor Becker comes from Kajulu. So remember, I just wanted to bring that information so that you don't go submitting on falsehood. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, I think I was on record. I was continuing talking, and I was saying, thank God someone, a member from Kasagam community in Kolua was given the position. But the position I'm complaining about, when I look at Kisumu West and Kisumu East and the entire board, if I look at it, the number was too small. And I hope that the next governor, the next person who will be constituting this board, should consider that the decision that will be made in the city will actually affect the people from Kisumu East and majorly, Kisumu East and Kisumu West, and majorly the indigenous, who are the people of Koloa, Kajulu, and Kisumu. And for that reason, when you are talking about the board, Mr. Speaker, I will always pray that the membership of that board, we should always be having 2/3, if not a half, Mr. Speaker. But for that reason, I want to say that I'm very happy. We have someone from Nyalenda A, who we not only see him as someone from Nyalenda A, but also a member who understands Koloa very well, which unlike in the last board, we were not included. This time at least, our voices can be heard and we are represented as the people of Koloa. But the representation is not enough, although I support the report. That is my take, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Kelvin. Though you don't need to say that your hands are tied. Here you are free. You either support or reject. It's upon you to convince the members to follow your thinking. Honorable Ruben Rakwach.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise to oppose the report because of the reasons that I'm going to give, Honorable Speaker. I said I always ride on facts and I respect our Constitution. Mr. Speaker, sir, the report has even mentioned some clauses in the Constitution of Kenya which the report has refused to respect again in making the conclusions and the recommendations, because there is Urban Areas and City Act 2011. If you look at section 13(4), then it states that a person shall not be appointed as a member of city board unless that person is a Kenyan citizen, unless that person is ordinarily resident or as permanent dwelling in that city, unless that person carries on business in that city, unless that person has lived in that city for at least 5 years, Honorable Speaker. At the same time, it goes on. If I take you back to section 13 of the same Act 2011, subsection 3, the executive committee shall, while appointing members of the board, ensure gender equity, representation of the persons with disability, youth, and marginalized groups, honorable members. First, I want to poke holes or the gaps which are in this report, Honorable Speaker. There is nowhere written whether there is a representative of disability. I have not even seen a disability card here, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the marginalized groups I have not seen. Maybe I was fast. I did not take my time well, but I stand to be guided. But now, the most worrying bit of it, if you go to page 13 of the same report, analysis has been done well, Honorable Speaker. As of this provision in the Urban Areas and Cities Act 2011, section 13, subsection 4 of the citizenship of a person being appointed, whether the person has permanent dwelling, carries business, or has lived in the city for 5 years. And they have analyzed that one Mr. Joseph Moga Awuor is not responsive in that column. One Miss Mariana Mondi is not responsive in that column, and it is indicated. And one Dr. Silvans Onyango Abeka is not responsive on that column. How comes in the recommendation it is being recommended that these are, and we are being pleaded with to approve these names, Honorable Speaker, minus only one, this young lady, I have forgotten the name. Mary, is it Marianne? only that one. What has this report seen in Mr. Joseph Mogawur and Dr. Sylvanus Onyango Abeka, who are not qualified? According to even the analysis that has been done on page 13, Honorable Speaker, I beg to oppose this report, Honorable Speaker. Thank you. On fact.
Honorable Tom Nyauki.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to support the adoption of this report, and if possible, Mr. Speaker, with an amendment, if I can be allowed that part, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we have looked at the names of people who actually, I want to say that I followed the vetting process very candidly. And something to my dismay is actually one of the people, the persons that the report is now seeking to omit from this particular report, one, Ms. Marianne Amondi. Mr. Speaker, Marianne Amondi is representing professional associations. You are a member of a professional association, Mr. Speaker. And I do know that where representation is required from these associations, they do select or appoint or suggest a person to do that representation, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, when this favorable lady was chosen from the professional cadre to represent the same people, then for one way or the other, it is found that she's not competent. But the incompetency here, Mr. Speaker, is something that all of us or even the whole team can be able to verify that what is the level of that competency that was required. My colleague, Mr. Ruben, has put across some points there. But even if we look at the composition of the whole team, Mr. Speaker, we should be seen to be trying to look at the what Constitution actually requires from us. You have seen, if we remove this lady, Mr. Speaker, we are going to remain with the two ladies, with several men in that board, Mr. Speaker. Are we doing justice to women of Kisumu County? I request that if something can be done, Mr. Speaker, because I am personally aware that even Marianne Amondi has got sufficient education, Mr. Speaker, and she has been living in this particular city, and I'm sure professionally she's able to give proper guidance and support to the team which we are going to approve here, Mr. Speaker. It is now my humble prayer that something should be done to this report. It is not yet late. We need to reconsider our decision to omit this lady. Mr. Speaker, Professor Peter Nyang' Nyong'o is equally very educated, and I'm sure in the field of this such kind of cadres, he must have considered the qualifications of this lady, Mr. Speaker. It is part of this that I'm requesting fellow members to take this issue seriously and to know that even for her to reach this vetting process, there are people who have worked along with her in providing some decisions or decision making in this particular city, Mr. Speaker. I therefore pray, I'll stop there, but pray that let members reconsider the position that has been brought by this report, not to leave this one Marianne Amondi out of this board. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
What is the point of order?
Honorable Speaker, the member who has just spoken has dwelt more on Ms. Marianne Amondi. And I think we should follow the Constitution. There is this provision of the Urban Areas and City Act 2011, Section 13, subsection 4. I think I've read out the requirements. And the report indicates well that she is not responsive as of what is required for a member of the city. she's in that category, she's not qualified. Alongside Dr. Sylvan Sonyango and Joseph Mogawur. So let us just follow the law. And remember, we are being watched. People of this great county of Kisumu are watching us. Whatever we are doing here must be inconsistent with the Constitution of Kenya. Thank you.
What is the point of order?
I was just reminding the member that the lady is really advocating for does not qualify. So he should not take a lot of his time begging the House to approve her. Thank you.
Honorable Gado Lima.
Honorable Speaker, on a point of information before the honorable member submits.
Honorable Seth.
Chair, I wanted to...
You keep on confusing me. The next time you are seated somewhere, and in the next minute you are appearing somewhere. You should be consistent with your seat.
Honorable Speaker, the member was speaking in tongues, and I didn't want to sit next to him, the Honorable Akwach. But I just wanted to inform the House and Honorable Akwach that the section 13 that you are referring to was amended by section 9. Part 4, 5, 6, and 7 of Urban Areas and Cities Amendment Act of 2019. So remember, let's not refer to an act that has been amended. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Gad Oliver.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, allow me also to contribute on this. Mr. Speaker, just to start, this House has done this vetting. This is now the fourth time. As a county, the second assembly did one. This third assembly did one that was rejected by the courts because of illegalities that the chief was talking about. Mr. Speaker, if we go by this report, and if this report is going to make the decision of the board, then I want to assure this House that this thing is going to fail again in court and it's going to come back for the third time. Mr. Speaker, the board will never be complete if it doesn't have 2/3 gender rule. That is an illegality, whether the people were qualified or not qualified. If the committee found it fit that Mary Ann didn't merit, I think this report will have not reached this House, will have been taken back, consulted, so that when we approve the names, there's no way we are going to prove 9 people and not a third of them are either gender. If we approve this board today the way it is, the way the House wants us to approve it, the committee, then it means this committee is illegal until such time when the governor will replace Mary Ann Amondi with another person so that we have a complete board. There's no way the board is going to run without a professional representative in that board. Mr. Speaker, as we talk today, the Urban Areas and Cities Act 2019, amended 2019, is very clear that you can never be a member of the city board if you don't either reside or do business within the city. From the Mr. Speaker, from the report that we've received from the committee, 3 members are either not residing within the city or are not doing business within the city. And that is one thing, that is a mandatory requirement, that you cannot represent people where you don't stay. And therefore, that specific instrument that was used to deny Mariana Mondi the chance to be part of the board is going to be illegal because 1, 2 other members who are being qualified today are non-responsive in either doing business or residing within the city. Mr. Speaker, I wish that this House could either prove the 10 names that were brought to them in all sum, or reject the old names and get a new team that is going to perform and work with all the sectors within the city. Mr. Speaker, if you look at the membership of this board, there is a category of each member to represent the others. There are the Juakali people who are in informal sectors. There are the professionals. There is the private sector. There
There are those who are in the neighborhood associations. Mr. Speaker, the board can never run without any, that one of the sectors is missing. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, you are aware that in the second assembly, when we tried to remove the then County Public Service Board, these errors of omission or commission made the board to win against the assembly and the county government by then. If we go by this direction, if we approve this board today, it will never take course, take any action until such a time when the board is fully constituted. So my request is, because I've seen Mariana Amondi has scored over 50% from the committee's report. She has scored over 50%. And if you are taken to that board, I don't think it's your personal responsibility to adjudicate. You are a representative of people. If the professionals have issues, they'll channel them through their representative. If the informal sectors people have issues, they'll channel them. It's not your personal brain going to work in the city. It's going to be the support of your association, your sectors, your members who you are representing that board. So today, if you say professionals are not going to be the board today, then who is going to work on issues professionals in that board if you don't have person today? And is the board going to work without the professionals? So, Mr. Speaker, I wish and I request members that we reject this report, take it back to the governor, let's get a complete report, and until such a time when we have approved all the members as required by the Urban Areas and Cities Act 2019. Thank you.
Honorable Rakwach, whom do you want to inform? Or what do you want to inform the House?
Honorable Speaker, if you look at Honorable Okumu has just talked of an amendment. If you look at the Urban Areas and Cities Amendment Act 2019, the section 9 that Honorable Okumu has just invoked only talks of deletion . It's only talk of deleting the words County Executive Committee appearing in subsection 1 and substituting it with the words County Governor. At the same time, inserting the following new subsection immediately after subsection 1. It does not talk of deleting or expunging subsection 4 of section 13 of the Urban Areas and City Act 2011. It has not been, the conditions here have not been expanded in this amendment. That is the information I wanted to pass to the House. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Chair, on a point of information, just to clarify for my brother, I know he's running away from facts, and I said you read the amended 2019 section 9, subsection 4, 5 and 6. It has brought new requirements for members of the board that were not existing in the 2011 Act. So all those that you are talking about right now, including submission of my brother, the Honorable Gad Okoth Olema, the son of Atieno Chandore, were amended in the 2019. And now these people that we are vetting qualify as per the 2019 amended Act. Thank you.
Information, Mr. Speaker.
Whom do you want to inform, Honorable Kelvin Oraro?
The House, of course, Mr.
What is the
Speaker.
information?
At least with the gadget that you provided to the members of the Assembly and the internet around, we are able to very fast access the Act, the amendment that is trying to quote. And what I've realized, and with the Constitution, Honorable Gad is actually very right And you know very well that without the gender equality issue, if we don't follow that, we are just playing to the hands of the court, and we don't want to be embarrassed twice, Mr. Speaker. So for that reason, we better ask the majority leader to withdraw, go and consult, and the other member to be given very fast, so that we move ourselves instead of rejecting the entire report. Unless the House feel it fine to bring Marianne back and be included in the list. That is my suggestion, Mr. Speaker.
Point is it Honorable Seth Kanga?
Mr. Speaker, I'm rising under point of information and at the same time standing order number 89. Mr. Speaker, when the names are presented to the County Assembly and thereby the Committee of Appointment, we do interrogate these gentlemen as members of the city board as individuals, not as a group. And when the lady was presented by the governor, there's a fundamental fact which cannot be ignored: the issues of Chapter 6 of leadership and integrity, of which the lady failed. Mr. Speaker, when we were vetting them, we knew the issues of two-third gender rule. And it's now upon the governor to decide whether the approved nominees be subjected to oath of office, or whether the governor waits until he appoints another person who will appear before this committee on the basis of professional organizations. Then after we have vetted the person, whom I believe will be a lady, then the governor inaugurates the board in totality. But at the moment, we cannot vilify this gentleman who performed exceptionally well on the basis that the two-gender rule is not adhered to, on the fact that the lady failed to meet the issues of Chapter 6, which are very fundamental of Leadership and Integrity Act. So let's just approve the list, then we wait for the governor to bring another name, of which will be vetted before this assembly, then presented to the governor for assent, then the board will be inaugurated. Until the board is inaugurated, it's not the board. Until they are subjected to the oath of office, it's not a board. So let's wait for the governor to bring the name, we vet, then we present to the governor. But we cannot subject these guys to such arguments as argued by the honorable members, whom I believe knows that what we are doing is right, but they are just bringing arguments. I don't know whom they are trying to please.
Thank you,
Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Before you give the point of information, Honorable Kelvin, maybe through the gadget, maybe you, I think, combine it to inform the members of the requirements in the membership of the board. What is the maximum number that is required in the board? And then the procedure of vetting. When the names comes to the assembly for vetting, the provision that if one person fails, then you reject the whole list. I think I've seen such provisions elsewhere. I would like you to guide the House if there is such provision that if one name fails, then you reject the whole list. And then at what point do you consider the board to have been, the membership to the board to have been fully constituted to check whether it meets those other requirements that you're talking about? So, Honorable Kelvin, or you need some time? Honorable God, you had contributed.
Just a point of information, Mr. Speaker.
Whom do you want to inform?
The House. And
I give you 1 minute.
1 minute, thank you. Mr. Speaker, what the Chief Whip has said is very fundamental. That until the board is inaugurated, it's not a board. Why they hurry to patch these names without a complete board? Why they hurry? when we can still wait for the other person to be brought, so that pass a full board? Why the hurry of us just passing names because they came for an interview? Why can we wait for the other person to come so that we do a full board and inaugurate it at once? We are not saying we are going to reject the person you've approved. We are saying just let's pass a full board that is gender, parity, and equal. That's what I'm saying.
Thank you so much. Honorable Seth Kangari. Yeah, I've already
that
asked.
They mention any statute or law to that effect, which says that if a member fails, if any member fails to meet the threshold, then the list is rejected in total. I thought the Honorable Kelvin Oraro and where's Honorable Akwach, who behaves like a senior counsel in this house, and Honorable Gadolema, they could be able to state such a statute, Mr. Speaker, as you have directed.
Honorable Seth Kanga, I already gave, in fact, I'm saving some time for Honorable Oraro. If there is that provision, then you will guide the House appropriately before I give my verdict the same. But in the meantime, I want to give those members who has not contributed. I'm seeing the Honorable Deputy Leader Majority. Honorable Benny Peter noticed you. What is the point of order?
Honorable Speaker, on the submission of honorable members, that we should fail other board members because one member has failed. Is that the practice of houses anyway?
Honorable Seth Kanga, I already gave... sorry, Honorable Seth Kumu, not Honorable Seth Kanga, Honorable Seth Kumu. I already given an opinion of the same, and in fact I've given leeway to Honorable Oraro to persuade the House that there is a statute that provides that if one member fails, then you bring down the whole list. I'm waiting for him.
Mr. Speaker, if you allow me, I can help Honorable Oraro to answer that. Mr. Speaker, what is a board? A board is not an individual. And this Urban Areas and Cities Act is very clear what constitutes.
I suggest that whisper to Honorable Oraro. I have secured some 2 minutes for him. I promise to give him time. So Honorable Lumumba.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, having listened to members of this Honorable House, and in my opinion, let us actually be realistic to ourselves and also to the rules. There is nowhere, Mr. Speaker, where it is said if members are nominated for vetting, they must be passed all at a go. That is the reason why there is a vetting. And if some members are not approved, then the whole exercise is null and void. There is nowhere, there is no rule like that. Mr. Speaker, there is also the constitution composition of a board. As long as the board has the quorum, the governor can decide to give appointment letters to even 6 members with 2 women, and that still constitutes 2/3. What is necessary and should be a practice is that members of this house, once they have approved the names of the board, then it is up to the governor to see when to give an appointment letter. We can approve 6 or even 7, then the governor in his own wisdom will see that there is no gender representation, and then he decides to keep the appointment letters and send back the other nominees to this house and say, go ahead and nominate or vet the remaining vacancies, and until after that, then he gives the appointment letters. There is nowhere that our nominee can be rejected because we have not met
point of information, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker,
is it the same thing that you are whispering to?
No, this is a different thing, Mr. Speaker. having listened to my junior, Honorable Lumumba, contribute, I want to inform the House that it's equally no law that allows us to approve half board, because there's nothing like half board. We can only have a full board or no board. So the issue of we approve this and wait for what is nothing. We either approve a full board or no board. There's nothing like half board.
Your information is personable, God, but I have one question, remember, even as we debate. Assuming we had a board in place, and God forbid one person dies, do we dissolve the board?
Mr. Speaker, that will need a constitutional amendment of the act as well, because nobody saw that when we were making the law. So we can't go there until we meet that, Nini. We can only cross the bridge when we reach there.
Mr. Speaker, vetting is a vetting. Whether board or cabinet, is a board. Just recently, Mr. Speaker, there was a cabinet vetting in the National Assembly where all members were not vetted. There was members that were rejected. That did not stop the president to appoint members of the cabinet. It is just as you are saying, just as he's saying that there is no law that prohibits us from giving names of those that have been brought to this house, it's the same way that this house does not also prohibit us from giving less. To the best of my knowledge, even the governor would have been and brought less names and say, approve that as you are waiting for. Where there is a challenge is when by the time it's constituting the board and the board is not up to the required number of members of the board. Mr. Speaker, I find that argument a bit shallow and null and void. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, once again, I feel...
no, Honorable God.
Point of information, Mr. Speaker.
Whom do you want to inform?
The House. I feel so much embarrassed. You are not the House. I feel so much embarrassed when a member, of course now is my junior, compares a cabinet and a board. I want him to go to the dictionary and just know what a board is. A board. And a board, according to Urban and Areas City Tax, there are 10 people.
Honorable,
so Mr. Speaker, allow us to talk about a board or no board.
Honorable God, you've given that information. This is now.
No, it is not getting informed, and that's why I'm bringing this.
Mr. Speaker, vetting, and vetting does not matter
all the members. All the honorable members. All the honorable member, just receive your seat. Honorable God Olema requested to give information to the House. I believe he was not giving it to only Honorable Lumumba Wade, the Deputy Leader Majority. He was giving it to the House. And I've noticed that he has given the same information more than 3 times. And he has communicated. So in his presentation, he's persuading members to reject the report. And he made his points, similar to other members. Let's give also other members opportunity either to agree with the report or to persuade members to do otherwise. We will come to a time of making decision. So we should not be worried. When Honorable Gadolima will have persuaded members effectively, I am 100% sure that members will go with this suggestion. If Honorable Lumumba Wade has persuaded members effectively, I am 100% sure. But if there was something wrong in what is being presented, it's my responsibility to guide. But as at now, where I sit, there is no such statute that provides for rejection of a whole list when one member has been rejected during vetting process. So I guide. So let's give opportunity to members who have not debated to debate. Honorable Pamela Ugo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I stand to support the report. I want to say the city needs a board as yesterday. The city has functioned without a board for some time. And it is not fair for them to work without a board. These people are different people. Some of them passed. We cannot vilify somebody who passed because somebody did not perform. The board can be selected progressively. Let those who passed go on and do their work. Whoever failed, let another person be appointed so that that person will be brought here for vetting, and she or he will join the rest. I stand to support.
Honorable Nyaoke, what is the point of it? I already gave you a debated. I want to give priority to those who have not
Mr. Speaker,
debated.
you know, this is a house of rules and order. And we need to learn as we proceed.
So what is the
Mr.
point of
Speaker,
order?
the way my learned colleague is putting this issue is so much casual, Mr. Speaker, that let the people who passed, let them go and start working, and then the rest. No, we cannot take things like that, Mr. Speaker. We must all come to a consensus on what the law says as per the requirement of the selection
Honorable
of the city panel.
there is no day we'll come to consensus. All honorable members, let me get Honorable Nyaoke. We'll come to consensus. Honorable Sir, I've noticed you. Switch off your microphone. Honorable Nyaoke, we cannot come to consensus. This is a house of debate and there are only two coins. Either you agree or you disagree. But if there is something that is questionable as per the law, it's my responsibility to guide. But as of now, members are in the right track. You are either agreeing with the report or disagreeing with the report. Honorable
Mr. Speaker, point of information. Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Nyaoke should respect the Honorable Pamela Oyo, who was selected by the people of Migosi. He cannot describe the contributions of Honorable Pamela as casual. Yet Honorable Pamela was elected by the people of Migosi to come and represent them in this house. You cannot decide for Honorable Pamela how she should debate in this Honorable House. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, Honorable Nyaoke should withdraw and apologize to Honorable Pamela.
Honorable Zatkanga, I think Honorable Pamela has not complained.
No.
Let me handle this one first, Honorable God. I've noticed you. Honorable Pamela has not complained about the contribution of Honorable Nyaoke.
Huh? I've spoken my mind. Mr. Nyaoke, Honorable Nyaoke should speak his mind. Because this house, we are not, we are allowed to speak our mind, contribute freely, and nobody should gag me. I'm a honorable member, elected by the people, and they have allowed me to represent them. I don't sit here for Honorable Nyaoke. Honorable Nyaoke, kindly apologize, because it is not fair.
Honorable Nyaoke.
Mr. Speaker, Honorable Pamela Oyo is, as you know, it's my sister actually. I want to categorically withdraw my statement and my claims, and let's proceed as per the guidance of the Chief Whip. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, my point of view.
Honorable God, I have given you so many times. Why don't I give Honorable Eko? He has been standing for a long time.
Mr. Speaker, just a minute to give my point of information. Mr. Speaker.
Is it the same information that you are giving
No, differently. Mr. Speaker, when we're in this house and we debate, you are allowed to call a spoon a spade, and if somebody feels ill, it's the Speaker who can control that. Mr. Speaker, if it's not unparliamentary for somebody to say a casual thing or anything, unless we are somebody.
God, we already passed that matter.
No, you see, that's going to gag other members in future. Not
Honorable,
unless it is unparliamentary language used in this house. That's when somebody can.
Honorable God, you are consuming the time of others, because that complaint could have come from Honorable Nyaoke, and is the one who has volunteered to withdraw. Honorable Gado Lima, Honorable Benny Peteriko.
Mr. Speaker, a report is before the House to approve the nominees for the city board. The committee has done its work and presented the report for us. It is now upon us to interrogate the report and give our views. Mr. Speaker, in this report, one matter that is bringing problem is the gender parity. When the 9 are approved and 1 is not approved, what is the implication? And Mr. Speaker, we have seen from practice, if the number is 10, 9 is approved, 1 is not, the work is thrown to the appointing authority to do the necessary. Mr. Speaker, I've looked at the records of these people. The reason why Marianne could not have been approved by the committee. But Mr. Speaker, there's a problem with the record. They are not numbered, so making reference becomes difficult. Like now, I cannot say which page. But when you look at this record, profiles and score sheet analysis. When you look at profiles and score sheet analysis, Marianne, professional papers were not commissioned. She brought papers that the committee could not authenticate. So the committee was in a dilemma. Another matter, Mr. Speaker, the committee is giving the picture. In their practical interview, the candidate did not impress them. The candidate did not impress them. Papers could be there. And when you interview the candidate, as Honorable Nyang was saying yesterday, that candidate did not impress the committee during the interview time. It is now upon the committee to give us the direction, and if it falls otherwise, we shall say we relied on the report of the committee. Mr. Speaker, we have seen instances where members are vetted and some fail in the vetting. This will not be the first one. Even at the National Assembly, when the cabinet was being vetted, this lady Solai from Bomet was not passed. And the cabinet had been vetted in pieces. It is upon His Excellency to bring in another name to be vetted. And that is what we will expect of the governor. And the governor is fully aware that it is a female that has not passed the test. So in his replacement, we expect him to bring a lady, not a man. And we also know the quorum. There are 10 members. When only one member is not passed, will they lack quorum? They will not lack quorum. In their meetings, they will proceed with their activities. Mr. Speaker, I've also gone through this list. Demographic profile of nominees in accordance with Section 97C of the Urban Areas and Cities Amendment Act 2019. That one, once the committee to tabulate their areas of origin. And when we look at this, there's this picture that Kisumu is cosmopolitan. So because Kisumu is cosmopolitan, we find people from other areas being included in the board. And people who have come out of Kisumu, that is Professor Silvan Sonyango has come out of Kisumu from Rachuonyo, Vivian Akoth Otieno from Rachuonyo, Marian, her case is finished. Joseph Mugawul from Bondo. So about 3-4 people are coming out of Kisumu, the diaspora. That is where we could have raised the question, how many people do come out of Kisumu? And that is the message we should pass to the governor. And with that, Mr. Speaker, the 9 that have been passed by the committee, we give them the go-ahead to be appointed by the governor so that they serve the people of Kisumu. I so commit.
I want to give priority to those who have not debated first, Honorable Kelvin. So the lead deputy speaker is on his feet, and then Honorable Sami Onyango, then Honorable Peter Obaso. So, Honorable Nerea.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I also rise to support the report of the appointment committee, of which I'm a member. Mr. Speaker, granted that the column that shows whether the person carries the business in the city, municipality, has lived for 5 years and above, Mr. Speaker, has been clearly clarified by some honorable members here, Benio Ikopete and Honorable Seth included, Mr. Speaker. That analysis refers to the Act of 2011 and not the Amendment Act of 2019, which no longer requires the application of that section, as was amended in subsection 4, 5, 6, and 7, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I also want to say that the approval of the committee members of the board does not initiate the operation of the board. Mr. Speaker, the operation of the board commences at a gazette notice by the governor. So until the governor gazettes the members to be as board members, then we still do not have a board. Mr. Speaker, on the issue as to whether we are constitutionally right or the constitutionality of members of the board if approved, Mr. Speaker, the unconstitutionality of the board, as was declared by the court, was not based on the vetting by the committee, but was based on the nomination process by the appointing authority regarding the 4 representatives of different categories, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as Honorable Pete Oiko has said, one Anne Marianne was not dropped because she was not a resident of Kisumu City, but because of non-compliance of the statutory document like the DCI and EACC, and technical incapacity and lack of topical knowledge as witnessed by the members of the vetting committee. So, Mr. Speaker, I find the report very clear, very much in order, and I want to urge the Honorable House to support the report. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I support.
Honorable Sami.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support the report. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, we are not here to do for someone interview. If you are brought here, you are supposed to do your job. So, if Mary Ann was brought here, Mr. Speaker, during the board members interview, I was here. And I can even recall there was a lady that was lacking, I think, original ID. They were sent by committee members to go and bring the affidavit. So on this particular approval on the city board, Mr. Speaker, I think the committee they did their job very well, and those who passed, passed. So we cannot force someone who failed to pass. So on that note, Mr. Speaker, let those who pass be approved. Let those who failed to try next time. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I support.
Honorable Peter Basso.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support the approval of these nominees. Mr. Speaker, I was here during the vetting process, and the committee carried a good job. So I want to support, and I believe those who are selected had the merits, and they qualified for this position. There are some people like Ambassador Dipo, whom I know, and Mr. Mugawur, who was my lecturer back in the college. They are people of respectable background, and I feel we should pass this with a recommendation that the lady who have been dropped be replaced with the same gender. Thank you. My submission.
Honorable I had promised to give you 2 minutes.
Speaker, first let me appreciate that the exercise that you're doing is very helpful to the Assembly, because you are trying to increase the debating standard of this Assembly, and for members to learn that the debate is also controlled by the rules.
A point of order, Mr. Speaker.
What is the point of order,
Mr.
Honorable
Speaker,
Deputy?
the honorable member contributed, and I didn't hear him standing on any side or any point of order, standing order or anything.
Honorable Deputy Leader Majority, I had promised that I'd give him 2 minutes when I just kept my words.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker.
He had stood on a point of order, and I promised to give him. I wanted to give
Mr. Speaker,
to the other members.
The honorable member was sleeping. I'm not worried, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, I think that is a very, very serious allegation by
Honorable.
This house, people don't come here to sleep but to contribute. And if in any case he was the one who's sleeping when I was contributing, then I'm very sorry. People don't talk when they're sleeping. Thank you.
Honorable Deputy Leader of Majority, you may be correct, but you don't just stand and start talking. You stand and seek the attention of the Speaker on whether you are standing on a point of order or anything.
Mr. Speaker.
But Honorable Raro, you heard what Honorable Deputy Leader of Majority said.
Let me withdraw, but I think we need more of induction so that we also learn on how to seek your indulgence. Mr. Speaker, I want to say that the level on how you have conducted this debate is very good, and is also helping Assembly, and especially for members who admire to go to Parliament. You know, we are in record. Most of MPs in Kisumu County are not speaking in Parliament. And I think this can be a very good place to learn on how to debate, so that when you go to Parliament, you're not new to that house.
On a point of order, Honorable Speaker.
Yeah.
What is the point of order, Honorable Honorable Setokumu? What is the matter with you? You keep on changing your seats. Can you stick to one place where you are sitting?
Honorable Speaker, I just wanted to help you with the timing of the Honorable Brother, and the 2 minutes are over. So, Honorable Speaker, I just wanted to bring to your attention that these 2 minutes that you promised him, I think he has completed them before saying anything.
Honorable Seth, I'm timing. He still has 1 minute.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let me go straight to the point. One, I want to say that from the amended Act of the Urban and Cities, the composition of the city board is supposed to be 10. If you read that section, 10, which has the 13A, which was amended, and actually that's what the governor did. Then if you go to section 11, trying to explain the 14, section 4, majorly, that when the county governor shall, while appointing the members of the board, ensure gender equity representation of persons with disability, youth, and marginalized. I wanted to stick on gender equity. Initially, the list was considering that, and upon appointment committee doing the vetting, because it is by procedure, we have realized that one member, unfortunately a lady, does not merit to be in the appointment committee list, approved appointment committee list. So for that reason, when the assembly was trying to look at now the issue of it being legal as a board,
Whom do you want to defy? Given the last chance to
the House, Mr. Speaker.
What is it? 1 minute.
The member is answering the wrong question.
Honorable Sami, it is me who mandated Honorable Raro to do that. Whatever is presenting, I had mandated him to do it. So proceed. Can you summarize very fast?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let me go very fast. So on the issue on the gender equity, unfortunately, the lady who was removed was for making now the appointment board look like it does not respect the gender equity. I was trying to peruse that it is not clear on how we should do in case of gender equity, but that is left under, I can say, lacuna, the speaker to decide. And that's why in my suggestion, I felt like we had two options. One was the majority leader to relax and wait maybe in the next 1 or 2 weeks. Or number two, Mr. Speaker, I feel like it can be approved, which when approved, it is just going to sit idle. They are borrowing from the parliament list of cabinet, which it is up for you to decide.
Point of information, Mr. Speaker. Point of information, Mr. Speaker.
To debate is that the members were okay, but the issue of gender equity was not clear, and that is upon you to decide and give direction.
Whom do you want to inform, Honorable Mure?
Mr. Speaker, I want to inform us, the whole House, there's something that we keep on repeating, and Mr. Speaker, we keep on giving clarifications. That, Mr. Speaker, approving the list of the board members does not initiate the operations of the board until such a time that the members shall have been gazetted by the governor, then it becomes a board. So when a member is dropped, it is still within the mandate of the governor to nominate another person to replace that very person that has not been approved by the assembly. So, Mr. Speaker, the issue of members being approved and not meeting the gender, requirement does not apply here. Thank you,
so
Mr. Speaker.
Thank you so much. Honorable Kelvin Oraro has presented something that I request him to do. But I want to remind him that the process of having the board members to the city starts with nomination. After the nomination is brought to the county assembly for vetting and approval. The appointment comes thereafter. So there is no lacuna. Everything is in order, because as at now, there is no appointment to any person to the membership to the Kisumu city. And I think Honorable Benio Peter Iko put it very well, that the governor can decide to bring another name. Honorable Wasa was suggesting that it should be of same gender. And he may decide to appoint even the minimum threshold. If the threshold is 5, the quorum, that is what he may decide to appoint. But as at now, there is no person who has been appointed to the membership of Kisumu City Board. So there is no lacuna. Everything is in order. Is there any member who has not contributed? Honorable Samuel Dede. Want to call the mover to reply? Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Even though you say that I called the mover to reply, but I wanted to contribute over the motion. Mr. Speaker, as my colleagues are already recording in their debate, as per the requirements, we found that there are columns for the requirements to one to be in the board. 1 should be a Kenyan citizen. 2, academic qualification, then statutory document. Then there are a part containing that one should have been carrying a business or business within the municipality or has lived for at least 5 years within the region. There we find that when they were vetted, we found that not only Mary Ann was not
Honorable
responsible.
Samuel Dede, I don't want to cut you short, but I think that matter has been clarified almost 3 times. Please refer yourself to Urban Areas and Cities Act, amendment amendment of 2019, Section 9, and you realize that there were changes on the same.
Thank you.
And the vetting process relies both on the Kisumu County, not Kisumu County, but County Assembly's Approval Act, which requires that those areas must be presented as per the Approvals Act. But in terms of agreeing with the nominee, it no longer applies as per the Amendment Act of 2019.
Thank you,
Honorable Eunice Alando.
Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Going by the mood of the House and the way members are now repeating themselves, I call the mover to reply.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker. See what Honorable Gad is doing.
Honorable Honorable Gad, what are you doing? Honorable Gad, please let's hear the reply by the Leader of Majority in silence. Honorable Leader of Majority.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to appreciate the members that have contributed on this report. Honorable members, first I want to start by saying that as a committee, we are vetting members of the board as individuals, not collectively. And I want to say that the governor followed the law and Urban and Cities Act by nominating the 10 members. I've had a number of members arguing over the gender issue. I think the governor nominated 3 women, and I think that is gender sensitive out of 10. And I also want to agree with the member that said that the governor may decide to nominate or to appoint only 5. But out of 5, maybe 2 women. Then the gender issue is taken care of. So our work as a committee is to vet these members. Number 2, I want to agree with the Honorable Chief Whip that we have very qualified persons to sit in this board. I will give a few. If you look at Ambassador Adipo, who has been ambassador and UN representative in Austria, and that is Vienna city, a well-organized city. And he told us that he was there for more than 5 years. Those are the type of people that we need in this city to reorganize Kisumu as a city. Honorable Speaker, all these men and women merit their CVs. I think yesterday we had a very hot discussion about having a colorful CV and the person. But I can assure you, these men and women really merited their CVs. Honorable Kelvin Oraro talked of biased representation. I want to remind you that I want to give you some of these members, and I want to tell you where they come from. If you look at Ambassador Depo, comes from Nyalinda A. That is Kisumu East. And I want to combine that question with the Honorable Akwach, who was talking about youth and did not read the part of the amendment of the Urban Areas and Cities Act. That Vivian Akoth is a youth of 30 years, who is very ambitious with his academic work, and was born in Manyata, was born and brought up in Manyata. Mr. Lawrence Obat is a guru in insurance who has worked in this city for more than 15 years. And comes from Kano, comes from Nyando. Mr. Samson Obunga, who has lived in this city for more than 5 years, comes from Nyakach. If you look at Ms. Edwin Edwin Ochieng Okul is a native of Moroni, but he stays in this city. So again, I want to bring to your attention to Ms. Karen Atieno Onyango. Karen Atieno Onyango comes from Dago, and that Kisumu you are talking about. So the list of these nominees, I think, represent the face of this county. And I want to appreciate the governor for the good work and the good research that he did. Honorable Tom Nyaoke talked about Marianne. And I was looking at the trend of the contribution of yesterday about the CC that was not approved. And the contribution of today of one Marianne that has not been recommended for approval. And the trend is the same. So I'm wondering what's happening with this group of honorable members. Honorable Speaker, I think there's more than meets the eye, but I want to report to the honorable members that one Mary Ann did not have DCI clearance at the time of interview. A simple certificate of good conduct. And this is a legal officer, this is an advocate, coming for the interview without DCI clearance, coming to the interview without the EACC approval. And that is, I think, that's a very important part of the interview. Chapter 6, integrity, leadership and integrity. So I think the committee did good work by not approving the nomination of one Mary Ann. And I also want to agree with the Honorable Oikopete that if the governor decides to nominate these 9 nominees, then there will be enough quorum to transact the business of the city board of Kisumu. I want to say that the committee did good work, and I want to persuade this house to approve this report as a whole, the way it is. And Honorable Speaker, I do reply. Thank you.
Honorable members, first of all, I want to appreciate the members for the debate. I can attest to it that yesterday and today we have seen a robust debate where members don't seek consensus, but you debate to convince your colleague to agree with your opinion. Similarly, just like yesterday, we have a debate on the nomination to the board members, and I want to encourage that that's what's supposed to happen. You don't have to agree with the opinion of your colleague, honorable member, but you persuade the honorable member to agree with you. Except that at one point I heard Honorable Nyaoke was trying to bring an amendment. Severally I have said that it is not wrong to bring an amendment during debate. But when you bring an amendment during the debate, you inform the speaker seated here that I'll be proposing an amendment at least an hour to the debate. And when you propose the amendment, you call a mover, a seconder, and you stop the debate on the main report and debate the proposed amendment and make a determination for it to be part of the report. And a new question is proposed before the debate proceeds. So, Honorable Nyaoke, I think now you are informed. You don't just propose an amendment, you don't call a seconder, but remember it should come at least an hour before the debate starts. Otherwise, the motion on adoption of a report of the appointment committee on the vetting of a nominee for appointment with the city board has been moved, seconded, and debated. So it is time that now I want to put a question. And now you will now make your voting depending on where you are persuaded. So if you say yes, it means you are agreeing with the report of the appointment committee, which means 9 members are approved and 1 is rejected. If you say no, then it means you are disagreeing with the report of appointment committee and the contrary is true. So I put a question. And I put that as many of the opinion that the motion for adoption of a report of appointment committee on the vetting of nominees for appointment to the city board be adopted, say aye.
Aye.
As many of the contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. And the motion adoption of a report of appointment committee on the vetting of nominees for appointment to the city board has been adopted today, Thursday, the 22nd of August 2024 at 16:40 hours. And I want to direct that the Hansard report be prepared for onward submission to the governor for action. Next order.
There is no any other business for transaction.
Let's be upstanding. Honorable members, there being no any other business in the order paper, the House stands adjourned until Tuesday, the 27th of August 2024 at 2:30 p.m.